Hazbin Hotel Season 2 and the Amazing Digital Circus are closer to releasing than you think. And if you've been keeping up with this channel, this is the third part to my opinions series, where I discuss the concept of how opinions are dying and why we need them more than ever. You don't have to watch the previous ones to watch this one, as I will fill you in on anything note that happened last time. With this video, I do want to expand on everything I said in my previous videos, but also continue to add on to my main claim, as the attention these videos get has had me on lock with brainstorming all the possibilities where the series can go. I have three things to talk about today that each have its own loophole we have to delve into. So with all that said, let's talk about how opinions can destroy fandoms. Make sure to like, comment, hype, and of course subscribe, as I'm trying to reach 40k subscribers by the end of the year and I need your help. Now, my previous two videos have been a big love letter to the concept of having opinions. I personally have learned over the course of a couple years the importance of this, and my previous two videos are advocating for more opinions, but before I get there, I want to talk about expectations once again, as I have found way more I want to talk about since I missed the most obvious example ever, and that of course is K-pop Demon Hunters. I remember when this movie was announced and how unenthusiastic people were about it. I'd show you the comments people were making on this before it released, but now it's the most popular movie of the year, and most of those comments probably got deleted or buried under the insane amount of praise this movie got. I don't know why I didn't mention this earlier, because this is such an amazing example. K-pop Demon Hunters had so much going against it, as K-pop is unpopular with some people's taste in music, yet still this movie excited non-fans when they saw it. It was almost like the expectation of this movie were so low that when they watched it, their minds were blown because of how skeptical they were going into it. The problem arises after this movie got so big. People, before knowing it was good and how popular it would become, went in confused and then came out liking it, but it immediately reverses when people see all this hype, raise their expectations, and when it's not as amazing as some people say, they come out of the movie feeling confused. It's the cycle of anything that really gets big, and I really think this teaches the lesson that expectations are like dogs. They can be tamed. I mean, to speak even more on K-pop Demon Hunters, I went into the movie a month after it was released skeptical because I didn't know if I was actually going to like it, and yet coming out of it, I really enjoyed it. But when I showed it other people after hyping it up, they were very confused what I saw in the movie. My story around this is the perfect example of what I'm trying to say. No matter how much someone may hype up a movie, it's better to not believe the hype before you make an opinion on it yourself, because that is a very easy way to get disappointed or disappoint someone else. Last time when I talked about expectations, I explained something similar in regards to the Amazing Digital Circus and Hazbin Hotel, where expectations can take away an opinion you could have, but K-pop Demon Hunters shows us that sometimes expectations can make you judge a book by its cover and could lead to your opinion being much different than if you didn't have expectations. Really, if you think hard about it, the more you expect, the more critical you might be without knowing if you end up not liking it. This leads me into my next topic, as I bring the poster children of these two previous videos back with the Amazing Digital Circus and Hazbin Hotel. The reason why I keep bringing up these two is, first, these are extremely popular characters that probably convinced most people to click on them, but also because these shows are complete opposites in the way they're viewed by the public. I have talked about how I think Hazbin Hotel is underrated and how the Amazing Digital Circus is correctly rated, so I think it's fair to both say that although I think Digital Circus is better, I would still say there are flaws with the show. This next session will be a lesson for you, as I realize I should set a good example and show the difference between disagreeing with and harassing. Now, I can use both shows in this scenario instead of putting them up against each other. Someone out there may make the valid claim that in their opinion, these shows have very weak and predictable main characters. Personally, I choose a statement I don't agree with to further distance myself from this being what I actually believe, because I've seen some view me talking about all of this as hypocritical and coping with my own hot takes. So to make sure no one can say this about me this time, I'm choosing something that doesn't align with my views. If I were to respond to these criticisms, I would not want to be threatening towards this person or start off passive aggressive, because that's one way of starting an argument that you can never win if you try to harass someone for their take. Instead, it's better to question them directly about why they think it. Now, to break this down, they could think Charlie Morningstar is weak because she's a parody of all Disney princess stereotypes, and how Pomni's only real consistent character trait is that she's traumatized all the time. I feel the nicer you are when questioning, the more the person you disagree with can elaborate. I think after they discuss why they think a certain way, that's the perfect time to say, in my opinion, I disagree, and then continue on with why you disagree. The real touch of all this is that you have to be kind. If you're not kind, then they will turn on you, and if they become hostile towards you for no reason, it just may be better to give up and move on, because once again, opinions are personal towards one another, not fact. This means their opinion isn't factual, but it also means your opinion isn't factual either. I also want to emphasize that once you carefully disagree with these people, if by the end you still disagree, that's fine. It's obvious there is a lack of empathy towards people on the internet nowadays, and anything you say can get hate. That doesn't mean there is a way to stop it, but you can be someone who just accepts that others will disagree, and if you're genuinely curious as to why, then use your position to open a dialogue that doesn't leave you angrier than you were before. Tying this into the title of today's video, opinions as themselves don't destroy fandoms, but they can if too many people harass others for what they believe. You don't have to agree, but as I have said multiple times now, respecting others for what they believe is better than hating on others for what they believe. And when given a choice, you should always respect, as there are people behind the screen you're talking to that have much better going on than to disagree with you. Leading into my final talking point, and the most important elaborating on what I just said, is how opinions can destroy fandoms. The most obvious answer in all of obviousness is taking example the Star Wars fandom, the most notoriously divided fandom on the internet, unless American political parties are considered fandoms, which then Star Wars comes nowhere close to them. I had a separate idea to end this video off where I would talk about cars, but I decided that I wanted to talk about Star Wars because you can't talk about fandoms without talking about The Last Jedi. To say this is one of the most controversial movies ever is an understatement, because I'd argue it is the most controversial movie ever made. I mean, the way this film divided audiences is unlike any other. The amount of hostility towards this movie is one thing, but the amount of hostility each side of this movie has towards the other is actually insane. You will find people defending and hating on it so easily. I'm not saying people shouldn't do any of those things, but to give some credit to each side is that I personally think there are numerous good in the movie that one side has right, and a numerous amount of bad in the movie the other side has right. Like, I think we can actually use objectively here, as in the visual aspect of it, it is objectively good looking in some portions of the movie. But we can also understand the hyperspeed RAM objectively makes zero sense if you actually think about how hyperspeed is utilized in every other movie and show. Although there is criticism this movie can have, let's be honest, this is not a 0 out of 10 movie. I mean, even if you hate it so much that you'd want to call it a 0 out of 10 movie, you could very likely find at least one thing you like about it, whether it's the throne room battle, Luke Skywalker going up against the First Order by himself, or even just the concept of hyperspeed RAM and how it plays into the story. There are moments in this movie that may or may not be at least 1 out of 10 scenes that at least make the whole movie just a 1 out of 10. This is where I come to how opinions really do destroy fandoms, because the more you indulge in the hate or the love, the more biased you become trying to fit into the fandom, which in most cases may not reflect on how you actually think and may be someone else's words put into your mouth. Individuality when it comes to fandoms is necessary, or else you'll end up too locked into disagreements to ever really like anything ever again. I'd just like to say thank you for all the support on these videos, and I just want to warn everyone that I will not be uploading next week because I'm pretty busy in real life and need to prioritize that stuff before I can deliver you more content. With that said, thank you everybody for watching. I'm Enchanted. Bye.